Some are calling for policing and discipline reforms inside Springfield Public Schools. This after a new report released data that suggests students of color in the district are disproportionately disciplined. Good Wednesday evening, everyone. Welcome to Western Mass News at 10 on Fox 6. I'm Chris Pisano. Western Mass News reporter Maria Wilson is live in studio now with what students are saying about the findings of the report. Maria.
Chris, many of the students I spoke with tonight tell me they didn't find the report shocking because according to them, the data aligns with what they are seeing inside their classrooms.
Myself and hundreds of other Springfield Public High School students are disappointed. We are disappointed in your inability to keep us safe.
Western Mass News speaking with Springfield students following the release of a Citizens for Juvenile Justice, or CFJJ, report, which shed light into some of the district's disciplinary patterns.
I myself and others here understand that it is their job to keep us safe. That isn't what they're doing, and if anything, like I said, they're just creating more of a bad feeling.
Destiny Catayana is a junior at Springfield Honors Academy. She says she and her belongings are regularly searched before she can even walk through the front door.
It frustrates me.
CFJJ previously evaluated Springfield schools. Now, more than a decade later, they've revisited the district and say significant work still needs to be done. Their most recent report suggesting students of color are disproportionately subjected to disciplinary action, including arrests. The Arrested Future report focuses on school-based arrests among some of the state's biggest cities, Springfield being one of them. It says while Black students make up between 18 and 19% of the school population, Black students account for nearly half of school arrests. Overall, students of color make up nearly a quarter of those disciplined.
We are very concerned by some of these high levels.
The report, which was presented by representatives from the CFJJ, suggests that over-policing is a problem.
You don't actually need to have school resource officers at all. Conversation with Springfield students suggests that there is a lack of, that they cannot identify noticeable benefits from, but they can identify noticeable harms from the SRO presence in their schools.
And students agree over-policing has created tension between student resource officers and students.
The more policing we have, all of that just, like I said when I was up there, creates more of an uncomfortable feeling in school. It's not a good feeling to know that you are being watched by these people and that you can't even be your true self because you don't want to do or say the wrong thing.
And many of the students I spoke with, like Catayana, who you just heard from, are optimistic that this report will spark a positive change in their schools. However, others at today's event are skeptical that this will push the needle. They say similar efforts have never fully gained traction. Reporting live in studio, Maria Wilson, Western Mass News.